Good one. I can't wait. Really
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Hey everyone, Jeff here with the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream, and here we are tonight. Here we are, and we got Colin Jamieson back in the house. Colin, how you doing, man?
Jeff, usually I always ask where everyone's at. It's very clear where part of the world you're in right now.
Well, I can't wear my headphones with this, so I am gonna have to switch and put the hat back on. This hat, there we go. All right, now I can hear and everything.
That's awesome.
Can't wear headphones with that hat. That's unfortunate, I don't know. So, how you guys doing, Tom? Colin?
Doing great. I'm doing great. As long as my internet stays live, I'm doing great.
Yeah, yeah. And you just had a new modem put in or something, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I could be doing a disappearing actor shortly.
Well, you're always welcome back. You know that. I'll make sure to click on the button and bring you back up here with us. And
yeah, as long as I don't disappear for 227 years, I'll be fine.
Yeah. There is a podcaster.
Yeah.
We've been searching for 227 years. Yep. Oh my goodness. Yep. So all right, folks, man, I tell you what, Colin has been a busy man for all of this winter, or at least since the first of the year. So we've had the invite out for him. He's been running around all over the North America, I think. But welcome to have you back.
You're right. I'd run everywhere but Oak Island, but now I'm back. I'm getting the boats warmed up. I'll be putting the ice is gone. The floats are going in, the boats. I'm fingers crossed this weekend. I'm going to get at least a boat and do a little recon mission to see what's going on.
See, now that's exactly what we need, folks. We need SEAL team number 1 to get out there on the water and start getting us some pictures of what's going on Oak Island. That's awesome. That's great. And I'm going to be up in Nova Scotia this year, and when I am up there, Colin has said you're coming out in the boat, and we're going to go live from the boat going around Oak Island. Man, I can't wait. Tom, you going to be able to make it over to Nova Scotia?
I'm going to give it my best shot to get there for sure.
I know. You got a lot going on this summer. So.
I got extra fishing rods too, Tom. So we can
be there.
Put everything. We can do like a fishing, beer tasting podcast from Oak Island to the whole.
If we're fishing, I'm there.
Yeah, that's going to be great. So yeah, undercover. Nice. Exactly, Jackie. That's exactly right. Colin is going undercover and going around the island for us. It's like he did last year.
And we found that graph they had last week or 2 weeks ago that shows us where the Muon walls are too, so we can over the shore and see.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's for sure. So I wish I'm going to talk. We're going to see what we can do. I really love the drone footage. And I honestly miss it. We do have a gentleman who is willing to provide us with drone footage anytime we want it. But we did, after talking with the folks on the island, and they really asked us to not do that. I almost cried because it's so cool. But, it is an invasion of privacy. It truly is. When they're flying a drone right over top of them and staring down on them when they're working and everything. And when that happens, they can't put their drones up, which, they do that all the time. They cannot do that. They gotta. So it really becomes one of those things where I love the drone footage, but we're going to see if we can get some kind of permission from them to kind of go around the island stay over the water type thing. I don't know. We're going to see what we can work out because it really is cool. But we'll see what we can do. Had back surgery yesterday, so I'm still pretty dopey. And I'll Stan. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you're doing better. I'll try to hang in. Wow. So,
well, I promise you we'll get lots and lots of recon photos from around. I try not to do it when they're filming. I wait till the weekends and try to do the water so we're not too invasive, but we can still see an awful lot of stuff from.
Oh, absolutely.
You're allowed to go go up on high tide. You get awfully close. So
yeah. And I'll be so tempted to jump off and run over there, but I won't do it. I won't do it.
Do one of those big GoPro sticks you can put about 15 feet up in the air.
I have one. We're gonna nose the boat right up by the beach, and then I'm gonna stick the GoPro over there and see if I can see over the road. And yeah, man, I could, if I could come up with a 30-foot stick. All right. Well,
Yeah, you know what
when
they call that in Nova Scotia, right? That's target practice.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Linda says when you come to Nova Scotia, you better plan to spend lots of time, Jeff. We got lots of stuff for you to show. Yeah, I know. Well, the plan is 2 weeks. If I can work it out to stay longer, I certainly will because I have so many people to meet. Tom and Colin and just Jeff Babineau and just and then all the guys, Terry DeVoe, Carmen, Tony Sampson, Scott Barlow, just so many people to meet. Oh my gosh. And Karen, of course, and Alessandra. And I don't know if I can get it all done in 2 weeks. I really honestly don't. So well, let's say hi to a few people that have logged in here tonight. Craig Robbins was number one again. So yeah, he's doing well. Robert's here. And as Colin says, if you're over on the Facebook side or anywhere you are, tell us where you're from. That's always cool to see where people are from. Robert Dean is here. Anne Marie, of course, we know Anne Marie is over in Germany. So, and she's up real late watching the show.
It's awesome.
Yep. Jeff's in the house. Mark's here. Let's see. David. I was watching Oh, there went Tom.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. Don't worry. Oh, you know what? I don't even have. Oh boy, I'm sorry. I made a faux pas here. I don't even have the feed up from Facebook yet, and we're going to get a little double echo. I'm going to stop talking for a second while I do this.
I always get amazed because I'm
double echo.
For anybody that doesn't know, I'm about 3 or 4 minute boat ride from Oak Island where I'm sitting right now. So I'm
Nice.
super close. So I always get amazed by see people from all over the planet, literally, that are so involved and interested in what's going on in our backyard here. It's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yep. Kat's here. Mickey's here. Linda, of course. Pete. My goodness. Keith Wood is here. Pat's here. Invisible River Ranch. Cool. Bass is here. Wade. Hi, Wade. Michelle. Seth. Tom's back. There's Tom.
Yeah. This might be short-lived tonight, I think.
Nathan's here. The Borchers, Texas Farm is here. Yeehaw, Texas. All right. I'm loving Texas. I really am. Texas has been awesome. It really has. We'll get started here in just a moment, folks, but I'd really like to say hi to folks when they pop in. But yeah, Texas has been absolutely wonderful. I have done so much meeting people and going places. I got some more pictures to put up on my Facebook, my own personal Facebook page that I'll be sharing. So that'll be happening. Hey, Kate's here. We had a lot of fun in Discord again last night. And I got to tell you, the people come up with such great things to add to content for the show and questions and things. It's really been a lot of fun. Discord is down. The link for it is down below. You guys have heard, everybody that's been here on a regular basis, you heard me talk about it before, but it's absolutely free. You have to install Discord, and then you click on the link down in the description of the show, and it'll take you right to our channel, and you go through the little thing, put your name in and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. We get in there on Tuesday nights. I get in early, so we can talk during the reruns and just have some fun. And it's really, and people are in there they're in there now talking about all kinds of stuff, watching the podcast. And at least I hope they're watching the podcast. Robert, are you watching the podcast over there? So anyway. So watching the podcast and all of that kind of stuff. We are going to be also adding, jumping onto, as soon as I get all the details figured out on that, on Rumble. So we'll be live on Rumble coming up pretty soon. We're working out the details on that. Rumble is another platform similar to YouTube. So I'm going to be going live over there as well. We used to do Twitch TV, but I stopped doing it over there. It just wasn't feasible. Thank you, Robert. So it just wasn't feasible to be Twitch. Just wasn't working out. So hey, Kathy from Michigan. All right, I'll be back over there in May. So there we go. Oh, she fell asleep and woke up during drilling down, and so I missed the Discord talk. Oh man, all right. Well, Also, I wanted to say too, while everyone is here, that tomorrow night, tomorrow night, there is no show. I usually do the Bigfoot stuff on Thursday nights. I'm skipping this week because I got to get packed up. I'm leaving here Saturday to start heading back east. So no show tomorrow night, but I do have a show on Friday night. It's Skinwalker Ranch Insiders Insights number 7. This is going to be a good one, folks, because got 2 insiders. Seth is going to be there. He's a new insider. And we've got Robert Davies, who is an insider also. He's been around a while. He actually created the Reaper that is part of the Skinwalker Insiders thing they're going on. And on top of all that, and of course, Shannon DeSalvo is going to be our my co-host, as always, for the Insider Insights. But we have Thomas Winterton, Caleb Bench, and Eric Bard are going to be popping into the show for a while with us too. 3 of the cast members, maybe Bryant. I don't know about Bryant, but maybe Dragon, as you guys know him. But yeah, so Thomas, Caleb, and Eric Bard. I mean, come on, you got to be here for watching that one. It's going to be we're going to have a lot of fun, and that is Friday night, 7:30 Eastern time. We're going to be kind of kicking off for next week's premiere, which will be at 10 o'clock next Tuesday night, right after Curse of Oak Island. Now, with all that said, Curse of Oak Island is not done next week. We kind of thought last night and next week was the last 2, because in the past, we made an assumption that in the past, when they had the Skinwalker Ranch starting at 10, that meant it was the season finale of the Curse of Oak Island. We have found out that's not the case this time. There's Seth Bound right there. Yeah, he's going to be on with us on Friday night. Looking forward to it, Seth. And so it looks like we have 4 more episodes of the Curse of Oak Island, which is going to make a total of 25, 24, or do we have 5 more?
I think it's 25, I think is what the number is going to be at the end.
It's going to May 16th. Is that right, Linda? May 16th? Okay. So that's what we've heard. It's going to go to May 16th is going to be the season finale. Now, what that's going to do for us here at the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream is that it's going to, I was doing this next week. I was going to do Curse of Oak Island on Wednesday and then do Skinwalker Ranch on Friday. Well, I'm going to have to continue that for 4 more weeks. Because, normally Skinwalker Ranch would take our podcast time slot on Wednesday nights. Right now it's 7:30. So because there's 4 more episodes, we have to stretch it out a little bit. So we're going to be keeping it Curse of Oak Island on Wednesday, Skinwalker Ranch on Friday. And then I got some Bigfoot stuff happening on Thursday. So just stick with us. We'll keep you updated as to how we're going to do this and how we'll make it happen. So I wanted to make sure that we tried to let everybody know. So yeah, we just found out, I think today, it was that there's going to be more episodes. It might've been yesterday we found out, but more episodes it was yesterday, of the Curse of Oak Island. So there'll be a total of like 25. So anyway, good news on that front anyway. So Oak Island 24/7, 365. Well, if they would do an insiders program like Skinwalker Ranch is doing, and we did try, by the way, to tell them they want to do it. The company that does it, MediaWorks 360, that does it for Skinwalker Ranch, wanted to do it for Oak Island. But I don't think it's going to work out. I mean, we talked about that. Who would check in once in a while and watch live stream webcams from around Oak Island that were up 24/7? I mean, you may not watch it 24/7, but who would check it out? I would check it out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would do it. So anyway, and then having a program where you see like Laird come over and sit down and talk with you for an hour or so. I mean, that's what they do over there. Eric Bard is on there all the time talking to us. You'll find out more. Check it out Friday night with us, because they're going to explain the insider program from their perspective when they come on Friday night. So you're going to want to, yeah, I would too, Linda. That would be amazing. I know. So anyway, all right. With all of that said, if you want to help support the show, we do have our Patreon channel, patreon.com. It's jfree906, or you can buy one of these really cool mugs, travel mugs. I'm going to be taking some with me. Maybe I might give one to Colin. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Might
Of
be a small.
course.
Yeah, it won't cost you anything to get on the boat, but it might cost you to get off.
Yeah, look at all my fish, my camera equipment, and all that kind of stuff. All right. So, all right. With all of that said, we are going to jump into it. You guys ready? All right. I'm ready.
Let's go.
So here we go. Whoops. Let me get that out of there. I got to put this one back up. Blink. There we go. All right. So the Curse of Oak Island. This one is episode number 20 of season 10, A Barrel Full of Clues. We finally found out exactly. I thought the barrel was going to be something that they found in the swamp or something. I didn't know it was going to be something they found in the garden shaft,
Exactly.
or at least a piece of it. So, but we'll get to that as we go along. All right, there's an aerial shot, really cool, and they're starting off at the garden shaft, and this is where Charles and Scott go over to meet with Paul for an update on the reconstruction of the garden shaft. And at this point, when they get over there and they get talking, they find out that they are now 73 feet. Last week, it was what, 65, I think? Oh, my gosh.
65,
Craig. Yeah, Craig, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you, sir. Craig, Oklahoma, and a Youper. I just placed Youper. So, yeah, so last week they were 65, 66 feet. And this week they are at 73 feet, which is good. The last 10 feet of the garden shaft is being cleaned out and prepped for the reconstruction down to a depth of 82 feet. That's really cool, Craig. I really appreciate that very much. Thank you. So, and
Yeah,
you guys remember, go ahead.
Yeah, and they're going to go to a total depth of 82 feet.
Yeah, 82. And you know, I heard Marty say something also when they were talking about that. So Marty said when they get down to the bottom, and this is what we kind of mentioned a few times also, and that's what they're doing with the probe drill. They're probe drilling, each 12 holes into each set as they go down, each 8-foot set. And he said, we need to find out when you get down to 82, he said, we need to find out what's in the bottom, what's under it. We need to find out what's to either side, if there's any kind of a space, a void, or a tunnel. So that's why they're doing all those probe drilling. And this was something that we got going on, and I think this was Ryan in the Discord. He came up with, we saw this thing here where they were following this line, and let me use my new, check this out. Somebody shared this with me, and I finally got the program installed. It's still a little wonky on the thing, but this line right here, look at that. Isn't that cool?
I'm impressed, Jeff.
My new toy. Woohoo.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you a job on Monday Night Football with the teleprompter.
Yeah. So Craig takes the ball and runs to the money pit. So anyway, they were following this line right along here, the DN line, 11.5, 12.5, 13.5, and they were following that line. So we got talking about this and kind of wondered, where does it go if you extended it in either direction? And so he first had this picture here, and he overlaid it exactly on top of the yellow line. You can see the old yellow line right there, and he overlaid it so you can see what's going on there. And then he took it one step further and laid it all the way across the whole area. And I thought this was really, really cool. And we showed this last week, but look where that line goes to. And I just thought to tell.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it truly is. And again, what's this right here? What is it cross right there? That's the cave-in pit.
Yeah.
And of course, here in Smith's Cove, you've got the finger drains that were supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here, you've got the stone road.
Yep.
We don't know if it extends honestly in all the way in either direction, but if it does, I think they may very well have been tapping into one of the flood tunnels. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know, is that the area in the swamp where they found those two rectangular log structures when they were digging?
I don't know how close. I know that the one rectangular log structure was actually right about here.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a tree right there, and it was right in front of the tree. So right about here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because I think someone said on the just on one of the Facebook posts what the elevation was from, Smith's Cove up to where the garden shaft
Mhm.
to the swamp is. How?
It's from the sea level to the garden shaft in the money pit
Yeah.
is 28 feet. There's about 6 inches difference between the two.
Yeah.
The highest point on the island is 53 feet above sea level, and that's in lot 15, 16 somewhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. See, there you go. Wow, Linda, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. I truly appreciate that. Thank you. That's really cool. So yeah, so I mean, and there was, we saw that log structure, and yet, they uncovered it, but they never talked about it. The
No.
one down in the southeast corner of the swamp. They never discussed what it truly was. We saw them start to uncover it, but I think they were laying it out to be some sort of a something that had to do with a wharf or something, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's like log cribbing, I think. Yeah.
I was surprised so far. I know there's still some more episodes. They're doing stuff in the swamp, but I know from last fall watching them that they were doing quite a bit of knickknacks, some scanning and digging. They had a tripod set up where you had the little red
yes,
dot
yes,
in the corner of the swamp. There's a lot of activity that was going on during last fall, which never really showed up in the episodes yet. So I've always been curious to see what were they doing, what was coming out of it. Is it exactly that? Is it a connection to the shaft running through? What were they up to? So
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
cool.
Yeah. And while I got my fancy pointer here, I want to also mention that they dug a hole right about here, a very big hole. I have a picture of it, and I could go find it and bring it up again. But they dug a hole right about there, just off of the money pit, like on that road right there, and it was a big hole, like at least I'm going to say 15 by 15 square, and it looked like it was at least 10, 12 feet deep at that point. And I don't know why. I reached out and they said, but they haven't talked about it on any of the episodes yet. I didn't get an answer as to why, but they haven't discussed it at all. So it may be coming now that we have 4 more episodes. We may still find out, but they dug a very large hole right here. And
And even further down, like if you keep going, I guess that'd be subs. Down the road from the money pit where you were just pointing where they dug the big hole, even further down, they did quite a bit of, there
down
a
here.
little bit, and even close to the water, they did quite a bit of drilling and digging, and I couldn't figure out again why they were down there, what they were doing. They had a lot of equipment, and they were doing I don't know if it was a Muhan hole that they were prepping or looking at, or there was some intersecting shaft that they were dealing with, but they were definitely had the drill rig there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think they might have put one of the muon sensors down there.
Yeah.
Muon, yeah. And we know that also that we know that, and Tom spotted this when they had the magnetometer survey map up last week, that they have some going along here. Like, I don't know, these aren't quite right where they are, but like those, like 3 spots along the road at the south side of the swamp.
Yeah.
Remember, Jeff, you spotted that one that I didn't spot that was off to the right of those 3. Is that not right about where the end of that yellow line is?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
That's where you spotted one too, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
In that general area?
Well, I'm gonna have to go look at that picture again now. But yes, there was. Well, actually, it was. I think that one was sitting somewhere in this area here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit over, and it actually said small box.
Something, and then move on.
Small
Well, so
box.
it was like 2 targets right on this same spot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The thing was, it said muon sensor, and then under that, right over top of one of them was typed on top of the other, said small box. I think that small box could very well have been that wooden structure that we're talking about.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. That would kind of be a big box, but I don't know. Yeah, I know, Kat. I'm waiting for the to get the data back. We don't know. Honestly, we don't have any idea if we are going to get that, hear anything about that data this season.
It's a
By the end,
pretty closely guarded secret, I think.
Very
something
much so. Very much so.
something's going on with that because yeah, we haven't heard a word, and that's kind of messing with me a little bit. But anyway, so and then they also talked about the fact that based on the results of dating the wood that they found, and I'm still a little confused when they talk about the wood from the garden shaft because they made it sound like it was wood from the bottom of the garden shaft dated
Mm.
1735, as early as 1735. Now that's way before 1795, before the money pit was discovered.
Yeah.
By Vaughan Smith and I always want to say Ball, Vaughan Smith and McGinnis.
I think Ball is
Um,
right.
yeah, I know Ball was in there, and then his name was taken out.
Yeah. Or all
And
four of
Smith,
them were there.
yeah, all four of them. I think that might be more the case, to be honest with you. But they had a wood that was dated as early as 1735, could be related to the Smoney pit, and I'm thinking it had to be from one of the boreholes they did that was right up next to it. I can't, because they just now are getting down to the bottom of it. So how could they have dated wood that gotten wood from the bottom of it? Unless it was from a borehole they had done. So I don't know. So Dave's
The
here. Hey,
garden
David.
shaft was Scott said that no matter what they tested, whether it was water, wood, or soil, they were getting gold.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Truly. I grabbed this picture because there was at one point I was looking at what they were doing in the garden shaft, and they had these two big pieces of something, metal, wood covered in metal or something, that were sticking up, and I wasn't sure what they were and what they could be used for. It doesn't mean anything in the whole scheme of things of finding treasure, but I finally saw what they were last night. It's actually this right here. It's a guide for the hammer grab.
Yeah.
As the hammer grab goes down, it hooks on this piece of it that sticks out from the side, hooks on right here and slides down to help keep it guided so it's not tearing up everything. Because the crane operator can't see it. Once it passes by the edge of the top of the garden shaft, he can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's helping him guide it down. And there's somebody watching it too once it goes down, telling him when he's in the muck. But that thing doesn't really, I mean, they had to use a small one, but man, it doesn't hold a lot, does it? When it comes up, it really doesn't. There's not a lot of really.
I was looking at, I think probably a yard or two maybe, but I don't think it's a.
But I'll tell you, those guys, they were pulling material out of there. Like, I remember it was like the long weekend in the fall, Saturdays, Sundays, in the evenings. I mean, they were going like nonstop pulling material out of that hole with that grab. So it wasn't huge to bring a lot of material, but they were working like crazy. There'd be no one else in the island and just the crane operator and a guy, and they'd have a dump truck, and they were going steady with it. It was crazy.
Do either of you guys remember, because I know both of you were out there at one point during the summer months or during the filming time. Do either of you remember when the crane left the money pit area?
Yeah, it was like November.
Oh, wow. So it was there right to the very end.
Yeah, it was really late. It was really unusual. And again, not to be a bit of a conspiracy theory, but it was kind of weird because they had some signage and stuff to kind of keep away from, not for people to be driving out the island and stuff.
Yeah.
But boy, I'm telling you, come the fall, it got real quiet, and they locked it up because we were going from the water. You could see the cranes. It's a huge crane, so you could see it from a long distance away.
Yeah.
And they were digging like all the time, and then they just got real quiet. And the rumor mill locally was that there was a lot of excitement. That they had found, whatever it is, like something had actually been found now. Again, 4 more episodes to go and find out, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can add fuel to that fire too, because we know that the token that we're going to talk about later, we know that we're going to see Jeff's got the picture of the date on the bag being August 30th or 31st. So if it's in the same time frame as them only having 9 feet left to go, and they're still there 2 months later banging away.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a lot of
But
dirt.
again, the timelines were funny because they really didn't start, I'll say, the dig. And I changed phones, so all my pictures be timelined out, but
Mhm.
it wasn't until really September that they got going with, I'll say, the dig, like, but they went long into the fall. So
Yeah.
the show is time wise is getting close because now it looks like it's kind of September-ish time frame.
Some of the leaves look like they were changing. Yeah.
Yeah. So was, when things were starting to really happen. It really wasn't until the end of the season. So
I know, and that's the thing. If I get out there in June, it might be way too early for all the good stuff to be happening. But hey, I got to do it when I can, right? Unfortunately, I can't come out in September because I'm going to Phenomicon out in Vernal, Utah. That's on the other end of the world, almost from Nova Scotia. So anyway, so yeah, I can't go out in September. So got to go when I can.
All depends
Yeah,
on
it
what we
seems
see.
like
All depends on what we see for the rest of this year, where they pick up this spring, right?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what Linda was just saying. She put up there. She said, I think it was Scott who told me that all the good stuff happens after Labor Day. And I can't, that's when I'm going to be in Utah. So I can't be there for that. So, oh, well. And then in October, I think they have they're having the UFO convention down with Laurie Wickens down at the, trying to think of the name of the cove down there where he is down at the end of,
my mind went blank, but yes, I know
yeah,
what you mean.
mine too, down at the end of Nova Scotia at the bottom, south end.
Southwest Nova Scotia, yeah.
Yeah, I've forgotten the name of that now, but
what,
hey,
Shag Harbor or something?
Shag Harbor, thank you.
Shag
The
Harbor,
Shag Harbor UFO incident. Yeah, they're having a convention. Nick Pope is going to be there. If you're a UFO person, he's going to be. Everybody know, if you are, you know who Nick Pope is. He'll be there. There's going to be several speakers there and stuff. It's going to be fun, and that's in October. So, man, do I hurry up and get back from the West and go to Nova Scotia again?
Yes.
There one time is going to be hard enough. Jess is here. Hey, Jess, how you doing? I was talking about your great, tumblers. Thank you very much. And Leah. All right. So next, they jump over to the swamp. And as they're working the swamp, here's a question. How do they know how deep the garden shaft goes? How do they know when they are at the bottom? I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, they keep talking about 80 feet.
I suspect that's been probed and stuff already, I'm sure.
Yeah, you would think so.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, man, and you noticed last night, that's something that it was last night on the show that they said that the garden shaft went through so many different names because they really didn't have it clearly identified. It was called shaft 12, and it had, and I don't know what other numbers it was given, but shaft 12 was actually down closer to Smith's Cove. So that couldn't have been shaft 12, but it's had these different names. Could it really be in the basically the hole that was the original money pit? I mean, that's what so I think could they be guessing that it's 80 feet? I don't know. In guessing because of they thinking it was shaft 12 that was supposed to be 80 feet deep. I don't know.
They seem pretty definitive that, when they get to 80 feet that they want to get, that's the bottom, and they want to drill down through the floor or the bottom to go deeper. So there's by some method they've determined that 80 feet is kind of the ballpark.
Yeah. Well, Deidre, on those historical records calling that shaft what though? If they're unsure exactly what that shaft is or was numbered, because shaft 12 is wrong. We know that now, or pretty certain that that's not shaft 12. So I don't know. Tony Sampson's watching. Hey, Tony.
Tony's out there. Yeah. Hey, Tony.
Tony, glad to see you. I'll be coming up there. I got my date set. I'll DM you when I'm gonna. I think I actually already told you when I'm gonna be there. So I want that. I got to get my ticket for Salty Dog Sea Tours. I'm definitely going on that. So I'm gonna get Salty Dog Sea Tours, and then I'm gonna get Colin Jamieson Sea Tours.
I'm going to go do the Salty Dog tour myself this year. I've only seen it a gazillion times, but I love to go on it just to kind of hear.
I want to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, hear their perspective.
Exactly. Tom, you
I
got
was
you.
I was lucky. I got Tony the day I was there. Boy, it's worth every penny. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Very
What's
cool.
his? What's the other pilot's name?
That was
Remember?
Jade Beach, the
Okay.
gentleman I was on the boat with Tony. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's worth the price of the admission right there is to hear Tony's telling you about everything, the history of stuff going around. So yeah, Salty Dog Sea Tours, folks, we got to do it. Yeah. So I'm gonna get I gotta get, man, I hope you're not sold out already. Does it sell out pretty quick, Tony? Ooh, I hope not. It might be
He
too
does
late.
sell out pretty quick, so you want to get on and have a look.
Ugh, I hope I'm
Yeah,
not too
get on his
late.
website and have a look. Yep.
All right. All right. Well, next they jump over to the swamp. It's Rick, Jack, Laird, and Craig working on another stone feature, which may be a continuation of the stone feature that they found a couple seasons ago. Now there you can see where the excavator is working right there. It is actually sitting on Nolan's Peninsula, and it's working its way, digging into that. The stone feature was actually found right about in here, and now they're working back more towards I'm going to say the mainland of the swamp, I guess, or right there. And they're talking about how it's sloping uphill, and making like a bit of a ramp, which was kind of the
Yep.
name of the show last week, having to do with the ramp. So,
Yeah,
maybe I can tell Tony the
Laird,
special.
yeah, Laird called it a gentle slope.
A gentle slope, yeah.
Mm.
And you usually, but we don't have but we will have 3 running this year. Sweet. All right. Good. I got it. Man, I got to make sure I get my ticket. I can purchase my ticket. I don't want to miss out on that opportunity this year while I'm there for sure.
Hmm.
So I even got my hat. I'm going to wear my hat too. I got my Salty Dog Sea Tours hat. But anyway, that's where they're scraping off this muck right there, getting a look at things. And you see that the rocks, and again, this is going to end up looking just like the stone platform did when they scraped it off last time. I got a really good look at it. I mean, already you can see what they're doing here. There's all these rocks are showing up everywhere. I mean, it's clearly another platform of sorts,
Yeah.
ramping up. What a job, though. I mean, that's got to be it's got to be a nasty job, but I mean, somebody's got to do it, right? So, and even Craig's in there having at it.
Be nice and stinky.
Yeah, really smelly.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Your
beautiful
clothes
stuff.
and everything. I mean, man, you're gonna have to use extra extra detergent, I think, on those on that wash load or something
Just
to keep that going.
better off just throwing them away.
Yeah. Oh man, but this is where they're working, and this is where they're working right now, and they're going off that. This was from the magnetometer survey that they had done, and they're working that area on the north side of Nolan's Peninsula. I'm really hoping, and I don't know why, that they haven't worried about this side yet.
Hmm.
I mean, that's where the big anomaly was, and they haven't touched it. So we got 4 more episodes. Maybe we'll get to see them working at. But this is where they're working it, and then now they're finding that it does have some sort of a slope uphill going up this way. We'll see. Does it tie into the road that they followed all the way along this side? They were following that road all the way along. So does it tie into that? I think it probably does. And where does it go from there?
Hmm.
And now a lot of people are like, big deal. I've seen this. You see it in some of the other groups and whatnot. People are like, oh, big deal about this platform. What's the big deal? The big deal is the date of this thing.
Hmm.
And who would have possibly went through all that? We've talked about this before, but 1200?
And that's a lot of stonework to do in one small swamp.
I'm telling you.
Hmm.
You know, it wasn't one road, one platform, or one ramp in 3 different swamps. They're all in the same place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what is significant about it, because it means that there's somebody was there doing an awful lot of work, building all this stone platform and a ramp and the road that goes across the bottom southeast corner of the swamp. For what? What purpose? That's an awful lot of work just for what? I mean, and that's what I want to know. I'm with Rick on it. I want to know the who, what, why, where, and when, on this whole thing. That's a lot. I mean, it's crazy. while I have this picture up, I want to show you. This is where, and this one's really blurry. Can't really read it, but right here is where that anomaly. Let me get that off of here. Right here is where that anomaly was that we were just talking about, where the other muon sensor is. And also, if and this is not clear, you can't see it, but underneath that it says muon sensor, and then it says small box. And that's in basically the southeast corner of the swamp, I do believe. Actually, back a little bit from it. Actually, I think the southeast corner might be right. No, actually, this is the road. That might be the southeast corner right here.
You see, Barbara said a lot of work to cover it up with the swamp. I guess that's the whole critical key to it all. Was the swamp man-made? If it was man-made, all that effort went into it. Why? It clearly was something of great significance. If that was the case, if that was
right,
what it was.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, again, it's one of those things, and Rick, you've heard him say, he said it on the show again last night, talking about the significance of what's going on. Oh, I see Robert that's the money pit there, or the shaft, or the garden shaft that you got circled there, Robert. Yeah. So, I mean, the significance of what's going on in the swamp, it's got stories to tell. It's got information yet to give that may help them figure out what is going on here. So Linda just sent me a good note here too. Tony has 4 or 5 captains now, and Lisa Moore does the talk on the boats also. So that would be good. Lisa, she's been part of the Oak Island
tours for some time.
Tours, yeah, for a long time. Now there are no tours, so Tony picked her up, but that's a great deal right there. So I would love to meet her. Judy Delpha said on here, I heard Tony makes you kiss the fish to board the boat. And he said, if you're lucky.
I think kiss the cod is more of a Newfoundland thing than
that's a Newfoundlander thing. Yeah. Oh man, you did that up in Newfoundland, didn't you, Tony? Didn't you kiss the cod up there? You got screeched in.
They've all been screeched in when they were up there, at various times.
Yeah, that's awesome. Bill Smith. Oh my gosh, that was a great episode. I love that one. That was really good. That was the sure did. There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, Bill Smith, man. He we've been talking with Bill. That whole Peter Easton thing is fantastic. I mean, there's more to come from that whole area, I think.
He's not finished yet.
He's not finished yet. That's correct. He is not finished yet. So we'll hear more from him. It's a mackerel. I've kissed the cod. I've kissed many a cod too. Yeah.
There's lots of mackerel around.
Oh my goodness. I grabbed this picture here. Party at the Mug and Anchor. Absolutely, Linda. Party at the Mug and Anchor. I already promised Tony I'll buy around. I think I'm not going to say it again. I think I made a outlandish statement on this show.
It's all been taped and recorded. So
right.
Too bad.
There's no backing out now, Jeff.
Ooh, I have to bring the gold card with me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, or we just might reprise Walking the Plank. So
oh, that could get bad right there. Yeah. All right. I'll bring the gold card, I guess. Do I have a gold card? Anyway, I grabbed this picture here simply because I saw this and I was wondering what this other excavator was doing out here. He's working on something. He's right there by the pumps that are going on. And
I wonder if that's the one they were using to put the pump hose in and out.
Oh, was it? Okay. Maybe that's all he's doing there. Maybe he's just getting ready to pull it out or something. But I saw that excavator sitting there working, and I thought, man, I wonder what's going on with that. What a thing to have to do. They can't pump the water out of the swamp into the ocean. So they have to run it all the way up along here, all the way over and across, and dump it into lot 27? 28?
I was going to say 29, but I could be wrong.
Lot 29. I think you're right. I think it is lot 29. What a man, oh man. But it has to go back through the ground and seep back that way. Yeah. They can't just pump it into the ocean.
Pump anything into the ocean, no.
Oh, Linda says, I'll buy my own drinks for the fun and honor of me. Oh, well, thank you, Linda. That's honor. I know it's my honor to meet you, truly. And anyone else that's a fan of the Curse of Oak Island that wants to come. And I would be, it's my honor to meet all you folks for sure. So, yeah. Maybe after a Crown Royal. I'm not too good on the Crown. Yeah, dark liquor and me don't get along. No. I can do a beer or two, but that's about it for me. But anyway, that's why I had grabbed that picture there. This is the platform that they looked at that they found a couple seasons ago. And Ian Spooner had dated back to 1200. That's it right here in the center in the red. And now they're working just to the east of it, and they're working their way up into the uplands there a little bit and following this ramp that seems to be going up. Maybe we need a set to give. What was that? Maybe we need a set to give to send a round of drink to set up as. Yeah, I might have to take out a what do they call it? A GoFundMe. I might have to take out a GoFundMe to pay for a round of drinks for everybody that's going to show up.
We'll be well stocked. You'll be safe.
Well, and somebody brought up a good point on this right here. And Miriam come out to check out things there, and Laird had other things to do. And I don't know if we're supposed to be talking about this or not, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And it was brought up that there has to be a archaeologist on site while they're doing this sort of thing. And I suppose that's
it's all part of the permitting rules.
All part of the permitting rules. Yeah. So an archaeologist had to come out, and there you got Miriam comes out. She looks real happy about it, by the way. I noted the look on her face, and the smell.
I think if they're in areas that are considered to be disturbed,
mm-hmm.
I think they can just go over and say, okay, you guys can dig from here to here. But if you're in an area that's considered to be undisturbed, the archaeologist has to be present.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. So yeah, and he had something to do. So the weekly acorn meet and greet at the Mug and Acre. There you go, right there. Yep, that's what we'll call it. I'll have to let everybody know what night I'll be there.
Every night.
Anyway, yeah. What's that?
Every night. That's what Henry and I did.
It's like a GoFundMe. Yeah, it's like a GoFundMe. Yeah, it's exactly right. Oh my gosh. So yeah, Miriam shows up, and then of course she gets everything rolling there to get the guys keep them going anyway, so they can finish cleaning that off. But what a huge undertaking to try to get all that muck off of there. What a big task to do that. Maybe a swig of silver water from the Oak Island well, or some thick swamp water. Oof. Instead of a beer. I'll drink out of the well if I have to, but not so I will not do a or a Rick Lagina swig of the remember when he did that? He took that water bottle and he got the water that was coming right out of the excavator bucket. It was pouring out of there, and he put it, and it was all brown and looking, and he didn't swallow it, he spit it out, but still. Oh my gosh. They can use a hydrovac in the garden shaft in place of the hammer grab. You would think so, right, Robert? I think when they get down toward the bottom, they could for sure. I don't know. Interesting. Next, they run over to Lot 5, and this is where Jack and Gary are looking there for more artifacts. This has been going on. I think this is one of those kind of things that we talk about a little bit about how they move around the season. Because I don't think they ever stopped looking in Lot 5 for artifacts. It seemed like on the show that they stopped and then they went off to do something else and then came back to it. But I don't know if that's the case. And we got a little, like Tom mentioned earlier, about the bag that this artifact is in. I don't think that was the case. I think once they got Lot 5, they kept after it. And now they're, staggering the finds out over the course of the season. So it's not a bad dam. I live in that swamp. Oh, it's not that bad. Okay.
True. I don't think anyone's been more intimate with the swamp than Tony. Like you've seen him in there on more than one occasion, diving around with a pole.
Man, Yeah, I remember then I asked him when we had him on the show one time, and I asked Tony about when he was down there with he was wetsuit, and it wasn't that deep where he was, and he was like going along, in there, and when he came up, it was like all the stuff was hanging off his wetsuit and off his tank and mask
Creature
and
from the
everything.
Black Lagoon.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, indeed. Oh my gosh, that was funny. Oh, and I asked him, he said, "No, it really wasn't that bad." I'm like, man, you are one salty dog, are you not?
Yeah. His definition of not that bad is different than mine, obviously.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. That's crazy. So, but anyway, we got the good duo. These guys make a great team over here, Gary and Jack, digging over here and doing their thing. And I remember, we're watching Jack. Gary gets has the hit right there, and then Jack gets on the shovel, and Gary's like, "You are a beast." He just dives on that thing and hammers it right through all the roots and everything. This is where they're working lot 5. That's that little spot right there, of course. Jumping Jack. You guys are hilarious.
If he ever hits a rock doing that, he's going to come off that shovel something quick.
Oh, man. The first thing they find is a piece of a nail or a square nail or a spike or something. They found that first. Not that big of a deal. We've seen lots of those come up out of there, for sure. Wetsuit may eliminate the leeches. Oh, yeah, there you go. Unless one yeah, help. Are there leeches in there?
No, I can't imagine.
Tony, I know there are some swampy areas in the UP of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, that do have leeches. You have to be careful of that.
The leeches don't like salt. I imagine
They don't
that
like
water
salt.
is
No.
Good.
I was going to say you get them in a freshwater swamp, or a freshwater lake. But
Yeah, which are the ones up in the UP are pretty much all freshwater ones. Yeah. Wow. Good point. Yeah. With that brackish water, they probably wouldn't like that too much, huh? Good point. Didn't know that. Learn stuff every day. There they are. Look at the look on their faces.
That's funny.
I love these guys, man. They are a comedy team. But what do they find? The petrified Ritz Cracker. I mean that's this is a really, really cool find. For sure. So Gary finds that small nail that he says is probably around the late 1700s, and then the next target unearths a piece of lead with scalloped edge. Gary suggests that it could be a trade token. A trade token originated more than 200 years ago in ancient Rome and could be made with metallic or non-metallic materials, and could be used in place of a government-issued currency. Never found leeches. Okay, never found leeches, rats, or an odd eel or snake for sure. Ooh.
We don't have any Texas snakes up here.
yeah, no, the snakes we have up here are very friendly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've been here, I was down in the canyon, Palo Duro Canyon. I've been down there twice now, exploring the canyon, and I was looking for rattlesnakes the whole time. Yeah, I mean, because this is that country, but yet where did I see a rattlesnake? In Florida, and we almost stepped on it. Actually, I did step on it. Thor, that's one of the things that people have talked about. Pouring salt on snails. Oh yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. It could very well be. I've seen some talk going around. I'm going to hold judgment on that until we find out for sure. There's been some talk going around that it's some sort of a buzzer or a whirlywig or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to let the team make that call with what the evidence that they've come up with, but you never know.
And keep in mind, some of those tokens also had holes in them, right? That's the way they carried them, because people didn't have pockets. They had them on a string or a cord or whatever. So,
yeah. So lead. But regardless of what it is, we'll get to the analysis of it here in just a little bit, but regardless of what it may have been or what it is, the lead dating is the important part, because even if it was something that was smashed later on and created into something else, that really is is beside the point.
Yeah.
In all reality, that's beside the point, because that doesn't matter to the whole scheme of things. What matters is the lead that was used, finding out where the lead came from, and trying to get some sort of a date on the lead. That's where the important part comes into play, right?
The other thing too that I thought about last night, we talk about it different times, that we look at the coins or the metal that they find in the swamp or along the shore, and we think that could have floated in on a boat, on a ship, in a chest, been washed up by a storm. Well, this piece of lead is from inland.
Yeah.
Right. So it didn't get washed up. It didn't get blown in, and it didn't float in on something. It was carried and dropped.
Yes. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And if it was one of those little, or whirlywig or something like that, who would have had it there? Who would have been using it? And the date of the person using it or playing with it or whatever, again, could be not that long ago. Who knows? But again, what's important about it is its makeup and where it came from, and some sort of a dating on it. That's the important part. There was some tokens that they showed on the episode. There was some different. All of them are stamped with something, and that's what kind of. If it was a token, like Laird said when he was in the interpretive center, there's no markings on it other than them two little holes in the scalping around the outside edge. There's really no markings on it to call it a token, because they had some sort of stamp on them to say whose token it was. Right. So you see all these examples, even though this one here is very rough, it's still got that stamp on it to indicate where, whose it was. So that's the important part over. And speaking of interpretive center, that's where we're heading next. And, and I got, I love the look on their faces. And again, it's these two guys. I mean, they were just like so happy when they came into the interpretive center. They're just like, ooh, they just like two kids with a new toy. They just couldn't wait to show it. And then you go around the room and you got Rick looking over here. He's all smiles. You got Craig all smiles. Everybody's like, okay, what do you got? And then they get out and they showing this particular item. And getting a look at it. So, and here's the analysis. I mean, we could look at this screen here all day long, but basically what it boils down to, after Emma took a couple of days to do the scanning on this particular item. It said, he said on the show, I think Robert Clotworthy said something about 24 hours, or somebody had said something about 24 hours. And actually, she scanned on this thing for a couple of days. That's what Emma completed the XRF scan on this piece and tells the group that there's a light layer and a dark layer. She did 2 long point scans on each layer. The light layer is 99.96% lead, 99.96% lead, and 2% copper and iron. The dark layer was 0.41% iron, 0.4% copper, and 0.2% silicon. So that's interesting makeup, and that helps them decide where it came from.
Yeah.
So initially, the material was found to match the sample to a sample from the mines in Iran, from the Middle East, but could have been from any mine on that geological belt. That belt ran across Italy, near France, and Spain. So,
well, anyone that was coming over was coming from Europe, so it's not. They didn't come here to mine it. It certainly came from overseas.
Right. Yep. Yep. So, and she said she tells the team that there are samples off the coast of Italy, and it matches their results off the coast of Italy, and that's where she said Sardinia. It means that the lead in the artifact came from either Iran or Italy.
Yep.
So what it is now, if it got smashed and turned into something, is beside the point.
No, it's not from here.
It's not. The lead is not from North America. It's from over there. That's the important part of what it is. So that's what I find very intriguing about it. It's an absolutely fantastic find, in my opinion. It's one of those things where, it adds to the whole storyline of trying to figure out the who, what, why, where, and when. So it's a great find. That's definitely a top pocket find for sure, even though he didn't say it. And it kind of goes along with the Roman coin. If it were a Roman token, then it would kind of match along with the Roman coin. And what did we see in the in the preview for next week's show? And I've got a little shot of that. Our friend, the numismatist, Sandy Campbell, got a look at it. And we don't know exactly what he was talking about because they didn't show what he was telling them. But he did say some. We'll come to that at the end of the show. What that? But he did. Sandy Campbell was there, and he was talking about something. I'm going to make the assumption he's talking about this here. We don't know for sure. Templars, baby. That's what Pete says. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, all kinds of lead materials, all the boats coming over, lead would have been used as,
Oh yeah.
depending on the age, on ballast and all kinds of materials because it was easy to work. I see someone made a note about because it melts at a fairly low temperature. It's like, so making stuff out of it and doing it, you didn't need a really super crazy kiln, I guess, for working it.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, they could pretty much hammer it right out without really even heating it up that much at all.
Yeah.
It was easy to make into a token, easy to make into whatever. And how many times have they found lead? I mean, the lead cross, for crying out loud. They found the lead cross in Smith's Cove, and they found all kinds of different artifacts around the island that are made out of lead.
And Laird made the comment too that he said it was something that was poured in a mold.
Yeah, that's what he was thinking. Yeah, for sure. Rather than being smashed. So yeah, I don't know. And you kind of have to defer to them guys and their expertise on that kind of stuff too. So anyway, so all right, we have come to that point where we're going to do the drawing. So and I think it was did I get a picture of this one? This is the book, I believe. Linda's going to pop in here in a second, and she's going to do the spin. We're going to spin for this was the book, right? Cindy Boosie's book. Okay, she's nodding. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, there's Linda. So this is Cindy's book.
Sorry, it didn't work.
Oh, the sun is coming.
The sun caught up to you.
I can't see.
Oh, you're all right.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
Yes, it's Cindy's second book,
Okay.
Annie and the Pirates of Halifax.
Very cool.
So
Very
it's
cool.
a fun book, and I have bought, I think, 5 copies of it. I use them for gifts all the time for kids. They're great fun, but we are
All right.
ready, if I can see, to do this.
Just spin it and stick it up to the camera. We'll do our best to read it.
All right.
Linda, I've got to say, you look very heavenly this evening.
Thanks.
You have a glow
Look at this
about
little
you.
glow.
Yeah, you got quite the glow going on there for
I'm
sure.
sure.
Yeah. So, all right, let's see. It is spinning. So here we go. Yep, hold still. There you go. Perfect. All right, we're almost there, and it is. Rudine Green.
Very cool.
Rudine Green. All right, there's Rudine
Right,
here
I
watching.
think Radine is here.
All right,
I think I
Rudine, are
saw
you
her
watching?
earlier.
Let us know if you're here. It's going to take a few seconds because there is like a 12-second delay. So we'll
Right.
see if Rudine is here because you must be present to win. So let us know if you are here, and if you need any help with getting your information over to Linda so she can get this to you, the book.
And I don't have a hat, or I would put it on, but I'd have to just put it on this side of my face. So even a hat doesn't work. I'll have to think of something different for
All
next
right.
week.
I haven't seen anything from Rudine yet, but we'll wait and see if Rudine is here. We'll give her a little bit of time to show up. If not, we'll have to respin. So that's a cool book, and those are really neat books that she's been writing.
All right, we're gonna do like just another 3 or 4 minutes, because if you're here,
Okay.
you just need to say you're here.
All right. Yeah, that's all you got to do is say you're here, and then we just want to make sure that we can get you the information over. So,
Well, for the second half of the show, I run this evening.
all right.
I just want to say thank you very much for letting me sneak back in with you guys this evening. I promise over the next, I'm hoping this weekend, within the next 2 weeks, we're going to get some spy shots. I'm going to post on our Facebook site so we can see what's happening, and are they back at the dig, or they got some equipment around. So we'll know very quickly here. I'll make sure you guys know first.
Well, we got 4 more episodes, and we certainly hope to see you come back on again before the end of the season.
If you'll have me,
you betcha. Yeah, and share those pictures. So, and then we'll have you come on and talk a little bit if you have something, if there's anything in them, as you go around for sure. So, yeah,
I'm here for a couple more weeks, and I'm off to France for the 1st of May. Yeah, so I won't be at Oak Island.
We've got a couple of castles. Got a couple of castles we might want to get you to stop in and check out for us.
Rochefort,
yeah. So you guys have a great night. Thank you very much.
All right. Good to see you, Colin.
Bye, guys.
Really nice having you back on. Thanks.
Thank you.
I don't know who this is, but whoever it is, I'm in Kansas. I'm in South Central Kansas, and it is still light here for another hour or more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still in Texas, and it's still light here, as you can see behind me in the windows back there. Yeah, it's still light. Yeah,
I'm not in Texas, and it's pitch black here.
Tom's in the dark again.
So, still.
I'm 2 hours earlier than Tom.
Yeah, Tom's in the dark.
And Colin.
So there you go. All right, well, we'll give Rudine a little bit more time, I guess, to show up.
Another minute. 1 more minute.
Yeah, well, you might want to hang out with us, Linda. You might be spinning again here. I haven't seen anything.
Certainly do that.
Yeah, Cat says dark at 8:30 in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, dark in Virginia too. Yeah. Light in North Dakota. Oh, I'll bet so.
Yeah, that's Michelle.
Yep. Oh wow, yeah. North Dakota. There's a state that I want to get to at some point when I get out west again. I'm heading back east, then I'm going up back to Michigan for a while, and then I'll be heading back to the west. And I've got I got to get out to Phenomicon in Utah, and then I've got some other places that I want to go. Montana. I've been to Montana. I love Montana. Montana is really. I was in Helena and all up in that. There's a highway you take to go up through Helena, and you keep on going north, and you get to the end of the world up there, like going to the UP of Michigan. Sioux, Ontario. All right.
Okay. Yes, I know where Larned is. It's about 30 miles from me. Oh. In fact, I was in Larned day before yesterday. So there you go.
Yep. Near Dodge
Saturday, 2 days before yesterday.
All right. Light in Los Angeles. Yes, I bet it is.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're going to have to spin again. We haven't heard anything from Rudine, so let's give her one more spin. All right. Yeah, Montana is very beautiful, Jim. It truly is. I love that place. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time around there. All right, we're getting slow there. Oh, Jeff almost got Jacqueline. Oh, I'm not going to try that last name there.
Hey, Jacqueline. Good job.
Jacqueline. All right. Is Jacqueline here?
Well, she was.
Yeah, Jacqueline. And we'll give her a couple seconds here because, of course, it's a delay. So we'll give her. Sonia made me think of the disc and one side of the cross to hide their gold. Made me think of the disc. They on each side of the cross to hide their gold.
There's Jackie.
Oh, there she is.
There we go. Yep. We have a winner.
All right. Cool. All right. So you are the winner. You are here. All right. Yep, there she is. All right, good deal.
Jackie, if you would get your address to Cindy, she will send you that book.
All right. Let's make sure you can do that. And if everything is good, you get her and she'll send you that book. So, yeah, if you run into trouble, let me know. We'll figure out something for you. And you can always send it, send me your address because I've got it jfree at jfree906 @gmail.com. You can always send it to me, and then I can get you connected up. But anyway, if you
I'm
got,
pretty sure she can hook that up.
yeah, straight with Cindy,
Yep.
and then she'll send it out because Cindy has the book. So donations coming in. That is so cool. I love
Next
that.
week there will be another book. It's called Sophia and the Cave-In Pit, and it was written by Michelle Tomeyer and donated by her. It's for kids a little older, I would say, unless Michelle contradicts me. But that's what we'll have next week for our giveaway.
Yep. All right. Fantastic.
Super.
All right.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Thank you, Linda.
See you
Appreciate
all.
it very much. Jerry asked the question, where did the legend 7 must die before the treasure can be found come from? And honestly, I don't know the answer exactly to that, but I wish they would stop saying it.
Exactly.
I really do. I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in that legend. And I just wish that the History Channel would stop saying it. But I don't know where it came from. I think it actually came from a story that somebody had come up with later on because of the few deaths that did take place on the island, and somebody made it up. So there was no actual legend about 7 must die before the treasure can be found.
I think you're right on that. I think it was just something somebody made up to insert into a story that made for good reading or good sales or good newspaper sales or whatever. Yep.
Exactly. So I really dislike that. It's the same way they keep saying about the 3 young boys that saw a light on the island and they paddled over to see what the light was. That's all wrong too. So some of those things that yes, it was made up. That's what Kate says. Yeah, absolutely. It's that there's no legend that says 7 must die. Somebody made it up, and it got airplay, and away they go with it now. So it makes for good television, I suppose, but not in my opinion. So anyway, all right. Let's continue on. We're at 1 hour and 14, so we got to keep moving here. All right. So now this was an area where I thought was very intriguing. When you get over to the war room, this was really a very interesting part of it. They were meeting over there with Emiliano, and he came over to talk about. He is one of the researchers that is on working for Rick and investigating stuff that Rick sends him on, and it was really interesting. He was working on a little bit on Zenon Halpern's material. This includes the Cremona document. Now, folks, and Tom and we've all talked about this before, and it goes along with the map, Zena's map. And you heard Marty say many, many times, Zena's map, if true. And so that's really where it all comes up. It looks like Jan came up and said that was about the legend made up by a magazine in the 60s, but not Reader's Digest. There you go.
There you go.
So yeah, it's really a dumb thing that I wish they would just stop.
Yeah, just done for sales. That's the only reason.
I wish they would stop that. But anyway, so they talk about the Cremona document. Now there's a few researchers out there that stand by it. There's a few research out there to say that it was made up also, that the Cremona documents are not real. So I don't know. I think as far as I'm concerned, it's still the verdict's out on it. I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
Excuse me.
So
I think the jury's still on. Like you say, there are people that think it's 100% legit. Some people are on the fence, and some people are going, no way.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so Emiliano is looking into that. Now, what it does is this includes the Cremona document and the disposition by Ralph D. Sudley of his Voyage of the New World. The manuscript was found in 1970 in a medieval church in Cremona, Italy, that contained maps, ciphers, and journal entries. The documents have believed to have been created by Ralph de Soule in the 12th century, who came to America about that time. Emiliano tells the team that he read the Cremona documents, and Saborga was an important principle and was close to the Templar pilgrimage route He believes the Templars brought back the relics from the Holy Land. Now, that Templar route, those things we know are true. We know that the Templars, that was where they got started in the first place.
Mhm.
They were commissioned by the Vatican to protect the pilgrims on their way to the Holy Land because they were being robbed and, accosted on the road. And these were tough times. So the Templar Knights were created so that they could protect the travelers on their pilgrimage. So we know that part is true. And Saborga is an important principality that is on that particular route. Okay. So those things do line up with that. Now, one of the things, one of the things he mentioned in all of this is the Templars were interested in and had received information from sailors, voyagers about trips to North America. Now, that's something that we've talked about before on this show many times.
Mhm.
We've had researchers on that have talked about that. Tom and I have talked about that. John Edwards and we've all talked about how that someone has been here. They know that peoples have been here before Columbus. That is actually been
That's a
proven with
given.
Scandinavian. What's that?
That's a given. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a given. And it's very likely to say that all of these sailors and fishermen and voyagers and stuff have passed on the information about this to others. The Templars would have known about this. They would have known about the route coming over to North America.
Yep.
Whether or not they did is still in question. But now Emiliano comes up with the fact that he talks about two Templar voyages that took place. One in about the 1100s and one in the 11th century and the 14th century.
Mhm.
Okay. So if that's true, they were here twice. Once before they were disbanded and once after they were disbanded.
Yep.
It is plausible. That's one of those things that we just don't have any proof yet, but it is plausible. He talks about where the Cremona document talks about, their trip over to the New World and stopped at an island of oak.
Island of Oaks. Yeah. It's interesting to note if you take that 1178 date, which is close to the 1200 range, we know at the top of the swamp, right?
Yep.
But you add 100
Yeah.
years to that, 150 years to that, you come up with 1338. Well, the date on Zena's map's 1347.
I know. Isn't that really something?
Coincidence? I don't know.
I know. That's the thing about it. If that map, if Zena's map turns out to be a fake, boy, somebody really knew what they were doing to create it.
Mhm.
They had their facts in place. Twice that we know of. There may have been many more times.
Yep.
Or more times. It's
Oh,
true.
yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff there. I think that they may have been more than two times. Yeah, that's what Cheryl says. Yeah, that's very true. But it goes without. Yeah. Well, let me just back that up. It makes sense that they would have known about it because there had been others that came here long before that. So, I mean, especially when you start to, even when you get back to looking at Gudrid the Fair. You remember when I had Lucas Antoni and Gretchen Cornwall, Aaron Brown, all the ladies that were involved in the episode number 4 of Templars that was created by Lucas Antoni. When they talk about Gudrid, Gudrid had been in North America. Gudrid has been said to have also been to meet the Pope. So there you go. I mean, there's some of your connections right there, if none of the others. So if you haven't checked out Templars, if you haven't checked out the whole series, you really should see it. It is on Amazon. You can get them, and they're not that bad. I've seen all 4 of them now on Amazon, but they're really, really good. And it's Lucas Antoni's film project. There's going to be 5 episodes in the whole thing. 4 are out now, and then the 5th is coming out. Yes, Heather Gilbert, thank you, was the author to show and had researched and written about Goodwood. Yes, thank you, Linda. So there is a connection right there. I mean, it's easy to say that the Templars and the Vatican would have known about the New World based upon the people who had already been there and passed that information on.
Right.
So,
and the cartographer that drew all the maps back then of what we call America now took information from all these different people.
Yes. Yep, exactly. Even though the Templars were charged with heresy, it is believed that there was an attempt to seize the holy treasures of the Templars. Even though many knights were arrested, tortured, and executed, it is believed that some escaped and took their treasure with them to several different countries before returning to North America. Emiliano tells the group that that is not only believed that not only the Scandinavians knew about North America before Columbus made his way to America. So we know that Columbus, I mean, that's been tossed out already. I mean, he was the one credited with it, but he was not the first to be here. That's very clear. I mean, they even talked about the Portuguese. When were the Portuguese in
they were here in around the Bay of Fundy, so close to where I live, all in around. Well, I think the earliest map I saw was 1550.
Okay, which is after Columbus.
After Columbus, but they were here. The Basque were here. The location of the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada, was not a secret.
Right.
If it was the worst kept secret.
Yeah, the worst kept secret, exactly. Yeah. Yes, that's a very good statement. The Templars were very good at keeping secrets. Yes, they were. But we know, and that's why you go back to that stone platform in the swamp. Why is that so important? Because it's dated to 1200.
Yep.
Again, that's why those dates are very important. Now, here's the really cool. There's 2 more very cool parts about what Emiliano shared during his time in the war room right there, in the research that he's been doing. He talked about 5 or 6 months worth of research that he had been doing. And I thought the really important part about that was that he talked about a Italian professor that he found a manuscript that is dated 1340 and was written by, Milanese friar named Galvano Fiamma. Close enough. Thank you. I'm so bad with trying to get those pronunciations. But this manuscript states that in early 14th century, people knew of America, and the manuscript contains maps. Rick asked the name of it. He asked him the name of it, and that was the here we go again. Chronica Universalis, or something like that.
Yep.
Close enough.
Universalis, yep.
So thank you. I'm glad, because I probably botched it really badly. You were probably shaking your head at me like you normally do when I do that kind of thing. I know. That is a very, very interesting thing. Now, again, he's talking about a document that he has not seen. And he didn't, as far as I know, he did not name the Italian professor who found it yet. He didn't name this professor. But he talked about this professor who found this document, and it's a manuscript that states that in early 14th century, people knew of North America, and the manuscript also contains maps.
Mm-hmm.
The friar's information came from one of the greatest cartographers of the era, John. I'm going to leave it at that. Agano, something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, John had knowledge of the trips due to his connection with sailors, merchants, pilgrims, clerics, and the Templars. So now Emiliano is going to Milan, and he's going to look at this manuscript himself. And the other very important part, many of you have already mentioned this in the chat, is that he now has been admitted he is going to get into the Vatican archives.
Yep.
That is huge.
That's huge. It's only been the last 4 or 5 years where they actually started to allow people in there. And then with the pandemic, it all got shut down. So I went back and I looked it up just to see. They allow 60 scholars per day in there now. Okay. And it's not a matter, someone like me, I can't walk up to the gate, fill out the application and expect to be allowed in.
Right.
Because I'm not known as a professional scholar or researcher. Right. So it's only people of note, that are really credible that are going to get in there to look at anything.
Like him.
Yep, exactly.
And he's well known as far as
he travels back and forth. He travels back and forth he lives in Nova Scotia and Italy. He travels back and forth.
Yep.
And yeah, I did a little research on him too. He's a very respected researcher and filmmaker.
Yeah. So there you go.
Author.
What a great guy to have on board for this kind of thing.
They're allowed to look at 5 documents. They're allowed to look at 5 documents per day.
Wow.
And that's quite a selection when you figure there's 53 miles of shelving in the archives.
Wow.
So you get to look at 5 documents per day.
Wow.
You can only take in a pencil, paper, computer laptops are permitted. You're not allowed any ink, no pens, or any digital camera equipment.
Wow.
So you can get in there to see it. You better be, pretty handy with a pencil and paper.
Yeah, to make copies of whatever it is you're looking at. Yeah, for sure. Wow. But this is huge, folks. If he gets to go in there and take a look at this stuff, I mean, that's he could there's answers in there. And if I had access, I don't know what I would want to look at first. Because I think the Vatican has answers on UFOs and aliens too. I know I just went off the rails with that one, but boy, oh boy, there's a lot. Linda's getting on everybody now. There we go. Watch out. She'll get you.
Yeah, don't. Guys, you're going down the wrong road.
Yeah, Blue Moon, you're right. This is huge. This is huge. And here's one of the things he talked about. He was talking about this particular pilgrimage, Jerusalem and over to Saborga right here, following this line. And this is that pilgrimage that everybody was taking to get to Jerusalem, that the Templars protected people. This is part of it, part of that pilgrimage, not the whole thing. This is part of it, part of the trip. But he also extended that and was talking about it going all the way over here to Oak Island. Well, and maybe, but there are some researchers out there that will stand right here and tell you that the Templars were never in North America. I don't know. It's still up.
I think it's more probable than not with what we know now.
Yeah.
I think 20 or 30 years ago, everybody would have said you're crazy to even think that.
Yep.
But based on everything we've seen, people like Gretchen doing the research, and these folks.
Yeah.
To me, it's more probable than not now.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it truly, and that's, and we know the Templars were absolved of their heresy charges at one point. So that got dropped. It was made up. I think it was made up at the time. I mean, there's still people that believe that there was heresy going on and they were, starting to worship the devil and all this kind of stuff. I mean, oh my gosh.
I think that's just the excuse that they gave so they could charge them with heresy.
Right. It was King Philip IV, was it? King Philip IV and the Pope at that time, which I'm trying to remember who that was. King Philip IV and Pope Clement, ordered Pope Clement V and King Philip IV had ordered the persecution and disbandment of the Templars in 1307. Then it was a later pope who actually absolved them of that heresy charge.
Yeah, and a year or two later, it actually got reversed, but it was too late then. The damage was done. The Templars had always, I guess, been rumored to wanted to start their own new world anyway. So that would probably be the reason for the earlier missions. And then with all this happening, well, it's time to get out of town.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I don't know. I mean, it's very plausible. You look at all this stuff. I mean, and I think that it's one of those things that it's too much. Oh yeah. Thank you, for Linda. I think it's one of those things that, it is very, very plausible. It makes sense when you really take a look at all those things. If they had been over here in the 11th century, and then all the heck broke loose with Pope Clement V and Philip IV, and they were being disbanded. We know that they scattered. They did not get them all, and they did not get all the treasure. There was all of this treasure that Philip was indebted to them big time, and he wanted to get his hands on that treasure. He needed it.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get rid of his debt. So they went through all this whole campaign. So the Templars had to split. And they probably went to, a lot of people say, Scotland and Portugal.
They went to Portugal. Well, when you think about that, though, you should think out loud for a second. If they'd already been here, in 1147, who do you think showed the Portuguese how to get here?
Yes. Very, very, very good point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when we asked, when they go around the table, and you go around the table and ask people, and we did this when we had our open forum night a few weeks ago on Wednesday. We asked them, who do you think and who do you wish, brought some sort of treasure over to Oak Island? And Templars is generally number one on the list.
Yeah.
Of who you wish or who you think, one way or the other. So, I still hold out that I wish that was the case. There are many researchers and authors that we've had on the show that don't believe that, and we know, but will we ever get the actual truth?
Will we ever? Yeah, stringing all those events together is what's going to solve it.
Yeah. So I tell you, honestly, I can't wait to hear more from Emiliano and from Corian Mole. Corian is working over there too, and he's researching this hard. He's back and forth, when much of the filming season. He was on Oak Island and Nova Scotia, and he's over there working. So, and you got Christopher Morford also working on with Corian and going through some stuff. And so, you got a lot of really great researchers working on this, and I don't doubt that we're going to see some new ones as we go. I mean, we didn't know about Emiliano until now.
No,
this late in season 10, I didn't know about him. No. So who we're going to find out has been added to that team or has already been part of that team that we're going to find out either later this season or next season. But I think Rick Lagina is doing the absolute correct thing here. He knows that he's not going to be able to get the answers he needs by flying over across the pond and meeting with the Rochefoucalds and going to the castle and dome and all this kind of stuff. Yes, it's great. Yes, he gets good information every time he goes over there, him and Alex. But I don't think that's where you're going to get the answers that you truly need. So you have to work with researchers such as Gretchen, Emiliano, Corian, Christopher Morford. The list goes on, right? So,
yeah, I mean, they've all seen all the cool, let's call it touristy stuff, right? They've seen the walls and the roads and the rocks and the carvings, but it's the paper trail that's going to bring it all together.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. And like Linda just said that, just talked to Gretchen and she will release a new video tomorrow with information about the stone carvings glyphs in Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
She's been working hard doing research on that.
Yep. So that's really cool. I can't wait to see that come out. So there you go. All right. So let's keep rolling here. We're running out of time.
Running out of time. Okay. So
all right. So lot 5.
Lot 5.
Now the guys are over to lot 5. The lot 5 is the place that just keeps giving up more and more stuff. I tell you what, this lot, and this was Robert Young's, of course, and he passed away a couple years ago, and I think the guys were able to acquire lot 5. And you heard, you heard Marty say how beneficial it has been. And, they were pretty certain that lot 5 had already been scanned and checked and gone through very, very well. But yet, look at all the stuff that Gary's finding.
Well, if you look at the list of artifacts that Mr. Young found, it's amazing, right?
Yeah,
They thought the
exactly.
place was picked clean.
Yep. Just curious, did they give up on the well already, or do you think we will hear more later? I think we'll hear more about it later.
I think
I
you
really
will
do.
too.
I think that they've got so much going on. You've heard them talk about that. They got so much going on the island at one time that it's hard to keep up with everything and keep everything going. I mean, that's why they jump around so much all the time. But anyway, this is the thing right here that just kind of blows me away. I mean, it may turn out to be nothing, but I mean, yeah. You're right, Zane.
The first time you saw it, you thought it was a cellar or a barn.
Yeah. Yeah. Like over, you talk about the ball property. I mean, he was working on the basement of the ball property, which was surrounded by a wall of, and they made their way down and cleaned it all out and excavated it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing people are finding, I guess, I had a problem with it, said, it's circular. Oh, it's circular. But if you go back, if you look up what was called a pit house, PITHOUSE, they were square and they were round, and they were anywhere from 9 to 20 feet across. They were anywhere from 6 inches deep to 5 feet deep. And basically what it was no different than digging a basement for a house, and they would put logs over the top of it, and I guess around, like I was called, a teepee or wigwam shape over the top. And you could use it for people to live in. You could use it for storing things in the summertime to keep them cold, or you could use it to keep livestock. It was a multi-purpose building, right? They were built for the same way, but for various purposes.
Right. You had a picture of it too. I was just trying to scroll back. You shared it with us.
Yeah. So keep that in mind too, right? And when people wanted to winter someplace, as we saw, in the meadows in Newfoundland, right, when the Vikings were there, they built their winter residence in the ground, right? And they covered it with logs and moss and sod and things like that.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to scroll back and find that picture, but I don't see it now. Oh, there it is. I just found it. All right. So I'm going to share this real quick. Now, and this is something that, here's a picture. I'll make this a bit bigger. But, there you go. I mean, there's a picture of one right there. Now, all that material that's above ground could easily have rotted away by now.
It's all sticks and wood. Yep.
Yeah, it's all sticks and wood and whatnot. So, is it possible that it could have been something like this? Yes, it's possible. Until the archaeologists get in there and dig and find out exactly what it is.
Exactly.
So there you go. So thank you for sharing that picture.
It's called a pit house. It's called a pit house.
A pit house. Yep. Right.
Basically, you dig a pit and build a house over it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So you're getting that protection.
Yeah.
So roundhouse was very common 1,000 years ago. Yep. So it could be something like that, but it's still something that, I mean, when they find something like this, same thing with the well, same thing with the quadrilateral, same thing with this thing and the things in the swamp that they found out. They have to check it out. You have to at least check it out.
If they're just digging a hole, if they were going to, I guess, dig clay or dig whatever they might be going to dig, I don't think you take the time to line it with rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. And it is very well lined with rocks.
Yeah.
And the other important issue about it is that we'll find out in next week's show is what it measures. What's the actual size of this thing? What was the size of that? You guys remember out there in the chat? What was the circumference, the circle of the, or I should say the diameter across, right?
Right.
Of the money pit? So there you go. So that's a really interesting find. And once Laird gets in there and does, and we should hear 13. Thank you, Kat. Exactly. And 13's one of them interesting numbers.
Yeah, coincidental number. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them coincidental numbers for the Templars and everything back in that day, right? If John Edwards is here right now, he'd be all over the number 13. So,
Yeah.
so that's a very, very interesting, very, very
Yeah.
interesting. We'll get to see
So
more
if
about
they
that.
if that's a pit house, right, and they've found coins and they've found what they think might be a token. I mean, back in the day, if these people were coming over here to trade with the Aboriginal people, there's no point in bringing money. There's no point in bringing tokens because they don't mean anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? They have really no value here.
Nope.
You trade for other things, but if you get stuck here and you had to overwinter, right, you'd build a structure like that.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. So they're talking about Mr. Young's website. He had a website there for a while. Did First Nations use British measurements to be exactly 13 feet size?
I would have no idea. The British invented the foot measurement. However, who's to say whatever measurement they were using just didn't coincidentally work out to 13 feet?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
But when you take that tree, the tree of life or whatever, that's that you see the rock that they found that tree on. It had the 13 branches and 13 colonies. 13. Hi, we see 13 coming up a lot, don't we? Right. So, all right, next, and we'll get more about that one as we go along. But next, they run over to the money pit again, the garden shaft, and Ronnie called the guys over, so they come over and they brought the gang along with them, and they found this interesting piece right here, a wood barrel band. Now, this one, I didn't think barrel hoops. I didn't think they made them out of wood. I didn't really know that. I know that they did on baskets, and like a basket made out of reeds or a basket made out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
They did use a wood band on it. I didn't know that they used them on barrels. I didn't know that. I thought it was always a metal band on a barrel. But interesting that they found this. Now,
yeah, and those wood bands were used up into the 1800s.
Now, we talked about this a little bit before the show started tonight. We were talking about this piece. Now, this could have been something that was pushed in there as backfill. We don't know that it was used in the garden shaft for any particular purpose. When I saw this last night, we were talking in Discord. One of the things I said in Discord was that if that the garden shaft was the original money pit, or if it was being used back early on for something, and they did set up some sort of a block and tackle, and they would have made some sort of a basket to bring stuff out or put stuff in down in there, they would have made a wooden container of some type and it would have a ring around it. I know I'm going out on a limb by saying that, but that's what first hit me.
Because it was a good size. Whatever it was a good, healthy size. It wasn't a little wee, 1 or 2 foot barrel or keg, right? This was a healthy size of a barrel.
And there's where Rick was just, demonstrating that very thing. A freshwater barrel, maybe? Yeah, you never know. I mean, it could have. It's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, Rick's showing you about how big he thought this barrel would have been, or basket, or whatever it was. He's talking about it right there. Yeah, water for diggers. Yeah, it could very well have been something to get the water down there to the folks. You're right. Absolutely. It has endless possibilities that it could have something to do with. Barrel hoops were used for hundreds of years and were phased out to metal in the early 1800s. Thank you, Linda. So, yeah. But yet still one of those daggone interesting finds, right? But it did have these nails or tacks or whatever you want to call these. And I tried to get a picture of them here. And this is them right here. There's a couple of them that are poked through it. They're rounded head.
Yeah.
We talked about these a little bit to try to figure out exactly what to help see if they could help date it at all. So we'll have to see. That hook was part of the block and tackle, he thought. Round-headed nails and tacks and barrel hoops were used in the 30s and onward. So, yeah. Interesting. Certainly was interesting. So, we'll find out more about that. Get that wood carbon dated. That wood's got, or not carbon dated, but yeah, I guess they would carbon date that.
Yeah. I also wonder too if they can take those nails and run them through some of their lab equipment to get the metal composition. Might give them an idea.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, interesting stuff there too. That was a really cool find, regardless. And you heard that the one guy say, when he was talking about that, how they were talking about the importance of pieces of wood, and Ronnie said, he's like, oh yeah, every time the crane operator, I don't remember what his name was, but he said every time the crane operator sees any piece of wood, he hollers at him, and they all have to come running up there to find out what it is. No, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, that's the original money pit was never said to be any particular shape. I don't think they ever said if it was square or round. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they just found an indentation. I think was the.
Yep, it was an indentation, similar to the indentation that they're looking at right now.
I'm trying to think of if they ever described how the oak logs were shaped going down in every 10 feet. If they were, circular or cut at different lengths to be circular. If they were cut square,
right?
I can't recall.
Yep. All right, so I got one last picture of the money pit, or I'm sorry, of the swamp to show, and that was this one here. And again, they're just talking about this, and this is where they're working now, is on this piece right here, and that's exactly where they're mentioning that it seems to be ramping up to that road that they were following along the northern, or I should say, the northeastern border of the swamp. And then the road that looked like it had gone up into Nolan's property area there, heading off here to the top up this way. So it very likely could be, and they're going to find out, and we'll get the data on that as the season finishes up here for sure, and no doubt about that. So again, one of those interesting finds on that as they're working that, and then he did come to this, and they called this sea horizon.
Sea horizon, yeah.
Is that sea as in ocean sea, or
I think, yeah.
No, Linda's shaking her head no.
Oh.
What is sea horizon? I don't know what that is. If I was thinking the sea as in the ocean, and that being the level of the sea horizon. Yeah, the letter C. Okay. Zane and Linda say sea horizon. What does anybody know exactly what that's supposed to mean? I guess it means that's the bottom of the muck, or that's the bottom of the swamp, getting into the actual foundational dirt that's under it, I guess, right? Clay. I thought they saw clay. They were seeing this picture right here, which whatever that is, and that does kind of look a little bit like clay, but I don't know. They described a sea horizon on the show. Okay. Well, let's see if it's in the notes here. No. So I don't know what's a sea horizon. AB. Oh, yes, that's right. They did, Craig. You're right. Oh my gosh, you're right. That was in last week's show, and I had a picture of that. Thank you. You just reminded me of that. Okay. Yeah, Jan, that's what I thought. I thought it was a sea horizon because of the the sand and shells and whatnot. That's kind of what I was thinking, but I can dig that picture up too, and I got a picture of that, and they did show the layers, the different layers. So yeah, that's right. Yep, I do remember that now. That's very good. This was and so this was the picture from next week. This is the one that got me. They were out there measuring this hole, getting a look at it in lot 5, 13 feet. Is that just a coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences, so I don't know. I mean, that's somebody had mentioned, is this about where the hatch was on Zena's map?
Like the hatch was up closer to the center of the island, to the island main center island road, wasn't it? That's where the hatch was.
I thought so too. But there was the valve, the hatch, there was all these different things. Let's take a look, see if I can find that. I'll have to look. But yeah, 13 feet is what they measured it. And then Gary finds something I thought it would. There was a couple of different shots. Okay, sea horizons are glacial or post-glacial material. Sea layers are commonly referred to as substrate in the
Okay.
substrate. Okay, thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Gary finds something over in the swamp, and he was all excited about it. And then I saw something in one of the previews that he was holding in his hand. I tried to capture this picture so I could get a zoom in on it and see what it was, and it's simply too blurry. Can't see, can't tell what it is. But I thought I saw something that would look like a shape of a horseshoe, a large horseshoe. I, I don't know. I don't know what that is, but it was a large thing. And then you heard Carmen. First, Gary says something about being the oldest thing that they found in the swamp. I think they're talking about this again. Editing, we're not absolutely sure because
Yeah.
of editing of
No.
Prometheus. Thank you very much, Prometheus, for all your fancy editing. Okay. But also Carmen said right after that, the oldest metal thing found in Nova Scotia.
Mm. That he knows of, yeah.
That he knows of? Or the oldest metal, whatever it is, found in Nova Scotia. If it's a horseshoe, maybe the oldest metal horseshoe found. I don't know. We don't know the editing. You know what I mean? That just gets us every daggone time. But yeah, they talked about the oldest found in the swamp, and then Carmen said the oldest found in Nova Scotia. So we're going to find out next week exactly what they're talking about. So yeah, I think Carmen, you and Tom, you got to meet him. I think he's very good at his.
He is extremely intelligent and extremely methodical in how he goes about determining things. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right, Craig. Later commercial, Carmen talks about the very old horseshoe. Okay, thank you. Yeah, editing. Coach says editing is done the most eyeballs on the show. Yeah, I know. Yep. Yeah.
Editorial license, folks. Editorial license.
Editorial license. Thank you. That's a good way to call it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I was talking to about was the fact that you kind of can almost tell when they're talking about, because we know they move stuff around from the beginning of the season, the end of the season, they're pulling stuff from everywhere. But you can almost get an idea, not only by the changing of the trees in the spring, of course, when they start filming, there's hardly any leaves on the trees. And then later on, there's lots of leaves. And then later on, they turn colors, right? Your reds and oranges and all of that. Yep. You can almost gauge the time of year by Jack's beard.
Mm-hmm.
This is when they're standing around and they're scraping off the muck off this new ramp that they're looking at, and you see his beard there. And then just a little bit later, they're in the interpretive center looking at the petrified Ritz Cracker that we don't know exactly the lead piece that we're talking about later. And wow, look at that. His beard is not near as long. I know, doesn't mean a thing, right? But I think it's funny because you could, here, he's got that. Remember last year he had this big old, season 9, he had the big old beard going. But we also know that they had an event to go to in September that I remember them talking about when I was in Traverse City. That very well could have had something to do with it. But yeah, so one other thing I wanted to show too was something that you found, if I can find the picture for it now, it was the bag that had that piece in it. And I want to show this real quick also. And here's that bag right here. This is that lead token, whatever it is. And the bag says August, lot 5, August.
I'm going to guess August 30th or something like that.
Yeah, right around there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we know. I mean, they're taking some of the important finds that they had early in the year and they're showing them to us now.
And we know when a couple of seconds later, one of the screens they pop up when they're going through the analysis of the elements, it says September the 6th on it.
Yeah.
So we know it's in that end of August, 1st September range.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, so I mean, man, lots of good stuff. We got now. So knowing that we got about 4 episodes to go before we get to the end of this season 10, hopefully we're going to get some answers on this stuff. I'd really like to find out more about this piece right here. But again, like I said, it doesn't matter really what it is now, what it was made into. It matters if it's a token or if it's some kind of a wizard or whatever they call that thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
It really doesn't matter what the heck it is now. It matters where it came from and if they can get some sort of a date on it.
Yeah.
That's what really truly matters. Because
to me, what really matters in addition to that, like I said earlier, is the fact that we know that didn't wash up on something or in something, right? Somebody carried it there, and it was what, 6 to 12 inches that worked its way down into the soil, 6 to 12 inches.
Yeah, that's the important part. Yeah. That it was found on lot 5 in the ground, not near a beach, not on the beach or anything like that, or in the swamp where it could have washed up. And we do know coins do that. I mean,
they'll do it.
Gary's found some on the beach.
Gary makes a living at it, right?
Yes, he does.
And going over the same beach all the time and finding new stuff.
New stuff all the time. And they go in there when there's like a big hurricane or something comes through, and it removes feet of sand. And that's when they really love to get in there and scan and get metal detecting. So are they filming now? Not quite yet, I don't think.
Not that I've heard, but
yeah. So I don't know. I know that there's guys on the island. There's no doubt about that. They get out there, the guys that are, especially the guys that are local, Laird, Scott, all them guys get out there on the island.
And the equipment at the research center, the XRD machine, all those machines, they're not used exclusively for Oak Island either, right? They use those machines to help other groups in Nova Scotia or anywhere in Atlantic Canada really to do things. So there could be cars on and off all there all the time, and it may not be anything to do with Oak Island.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, Laird talked about that, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he had his little episodes that he was doing. So again, I thought this was a pretty good show. I thought some of the finds, the last 2 were a little bit lackluster, but unfortunately the quad didn't turn out to really give us any answers. The well didn't really turn out to give us any answers. The well on Nolan's property there. And they spent some, and like I said earlier, you have to check these things out. You really have to.
Yep.
Now they're looking at this lot 5 in this 13-foot diameter rock structure, depression in the ground. You have to research these things. You can't ignore it.
Someone posted a question in chat earlier, and they said, "Why didn't they just call it a shelter?" Well, if you know Laird Nevin, until he can prove it's a shelter, it's just a pile of rocks.
That's right.
Laird will not declare anything to be something until he is satisfied and can prove in his own mind that that's in fact what it was used for.
Yep, that is a very, very good point. And he kind of said that on the show. He's not going to jump to conclusions. Laird does not jump to conclusions. He waits for the facts.
You listen to him talk about something, he'll say the earliest evidence we have of that is.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly right.
It could have been used for that, 100 years before, but the earliest evidence we have of that is.
Yep. Exactly. So
very, very exact in what he says.
Yep. Yeah. Very good stuff. So I tell you what, I thought this was a good episode. I thought it was very informative. We got some interesting things we're going to find out about going down the road here. And there's yet to come. We still need to find out what is that brass looking item or copper colored item with the blue stones in it. We haven't seen that yet.
I know, that's the another great kept mystery right there, I can tell you.
They showed us at the beginning of the season. It pops up every now and then in a little promo commercial. But is it Tuesday yet, Zane?
I think they're just doing that blue stone thing to drive Linda crazy. So,
and it does. It works. It works to do that. That's for sure. Let's see, Jeff. Your picks for the X-ray has a company logo on the top left corner. Shows Bruker Industries. Check them out. Okay, I will. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, this is a good one. And don't forget, we got about 4 more. It looks like. I think Prometheus is saying
Yeah,
the
well,
16th for the
20. This is
season
20,
finale.
right? So yeah, somebody said maybe 25, and maybe a couple
Yeah.
of drilling downs on top of that. So
Well, let's see. What do we got? So yeah. So last night's show on the 11th, and then the 18th to 25th. So 5, probably 5 to go. So till we get to a total of 25 episodes. So don't forget, like I was saying, folks, we're going
there's
to
that
be doing.
bluestone that Linda keeps talking about.
Yeah, there it is.
Right
That's
here.
the one right there.
Yeah. What is it?
What is it?
Mm.
What is it? Yeah, that's the one right there. So don't forget, like I was saying, we're going to be talking about what we're doing with our show for the next 5 weeks. My plan was to replace the Curse of Oak Island when the finale comes with Skinwalker Ranch. But if we're going to go on 5 more weeks, and the reason they're kind of doing this is because they extended the number of episodes for Skinwalker Ranch. They're now looking at doing like 14 this year. So they want to end it about the same amount of time. So they had to start it early. That's why they're doing that. We think that's the logical explanation of why they're starting it early. So they're going to have Curse of Oak Island on at 9, Skinwalker Ranch on at 10 for the next 5 weeks. So my show, this podcast is going to be at 7:30 on Wednesdays. We're going to continue with the Curse of Oak Island on Wednesday night like we always have. And we're going to be doing Skinwalker Ranch episodes as they come out, start on the 18th next week. We're going to do those on Friday night as we go along. Now, don't forget, next Friday night, the 14th, we are having our Skinwalker Ranch Insiders Insights, and we're going to have Seth Bridges on. He's a new insider. And then we got Robert Davies coming on. He's been an insider for a while now and has developed some very cool things that we get to use as insiders. He'll talk about all of that. And we have Thomas Winterton, Caleb Bench, and Eric Bard coming on the show. And I don't know about Dragon. I don't know yet. I haven't heard on that one yet. So, yeah, going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with them guys. That's Friday night, 7:30 for Insiders Insights, Skinwalker Ranch Insiders Insights. It's going to be a lot of fun. No show tomorrow night. I'm taking the night off because, quite honestly, I got to start getting packed up to get ready to leave Texas. So I need some time. So, all right, that's what I've got. Tom, any final words, sir?
Thanks for the synopsis, Jan.
Yes. Thanks for the synopsis, Jan. Love when you do those. It helps so much. And I know the folks in our Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Facebook group page is where she posts those. If you want to go read them yourself, there it is. All the information from every episode going back as far as I can even remember. So Jan does a fantastic job with that. So thank you very much. Linda, great job. Thank you so much for all the help you give. And Tom, love you having you on as a co-host. And Colin, yeah, good stuff. All right, folks, that's it for us tonight. We will catch you next time, hopefully Friday night, right here on the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream and J Free 906 podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.